Hello again, everybody. This is John and Glenn with BestPriceNutrition.com. Today we're going to be reviewing the Cellucor C4 Extreme. We had a lot of requests in the past to review Cellucor products, but we didn't carry them for a while. They weren't available, so that was part of it, and we just never really got around to it. So finally, here we are. So, what is the product? What's its intended use, Glenn?
It's a pre-workout supplement. Take it before your workout. It's supposed to enhance your energy, maybe some mental focus, give you some pumps.
Okay. And what's it most akin to? Probably like a Jacked type product?
I would say, a Jacked and then it'll explode, something like that. It doesn't.
Well, the lower dose, like more concentrated, I would say. Yeah.
Exactly, yes, and it doesn't contain the 1,3-dimethylamine inside of it, so it's a new class.
At the time of this viewing right now, there's some litigation going on between the FDA and some supplement companies with 1,3-dimethylamine as to whether or not it comes from geranium or not. We have a separate video on that you can check out, but this one doesn't have it in there, so if there's a concern as to whether or not you want to take that, it's not in this product. So what's the main ingredient, Glenn?
Going through first ingredient, BetaAlanine, there's 1,500 milligrams per scoop.
Okay, and how's that dose? I mean, 1.5 grams, it's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. To give you what the recommended serving is, it says take one serving, I should say 1 to 2 servings per day, but they recommend you start with 1 scoop to assess your tolerance. Eventually, if you do work your way up to 2 scoops before you work out, you'd then be getting 3,000 milligrams or 3 grams.
Yeah, and it's being stimulant based. We can go through that in a little bit here, but assessing tolerance is important when it comes to stims because you don't want to just grab 2 scoops and all of a sudden you're downing a ton of caffeine that your body's just not used to and you get jittery and you might get nauseous, so that's important. Now, what does beta-alanine do specifically?
It acts as a buffer in the muscles. As you're working out, your body produces acid, and it can buffer that acid to allow you to get through your reps and sets. So at the end of your your sets, I should say, you probably get a little bit of a burn, and this can help buffer that. And this is not only just throughout your sets, but also the entire workout. So possibly at the end of your workout when you're tired and you're fatigued or your muscles are fatigued, this may help you get an extra few reps.
Yeah, that acid is one of the rate-limiting factors that doesn't allow you to just keep working out. It's part of it. And be clear, too, it is acid, not lactic acid. It's the acid that dissociates from lactic acid, just because lactic acid is something our bodies make to be used as fuel. Oftentimes people make the mistake of saying it's lactic acid that's causing the burn. No, it's not. That's fuel that's actually being burned. The acid that dissociates is what causes it. Next ingredient is creatine nitrate.
Creatine nitrate, 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram per scoop. All this really is just creatine bonded to nitrate, and when your body absorbs it, then it splits, or I should say when it goes through digestion, it splits into creatine and nitrate. Nitrates are popular, not I should say popular, but they're involved in a lot of medications for people with heart failure and things like that. It has been shown to increase vasodilation. In terms of its use in athletes, there's not been much research that I've seen or that I've been able to find, and then this being intended, I guess, for the creatine, it's a pretty low dose with just 1 gram per scoop.
Yeah, with creatine, we recommend creatine monohydrate. It's the one that's been studied the most. It's the cheapest. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with the other forms. It's just that we know the most about creatine monohydrate. It tends to be the cheapest, but that's not the main intention of the product. 1 gram, give or take, that's fine. Next ingredient, arginine alpha-ketoglutarate. It's kind of in all of the nitric oxide type products. A lot of them are arginine based. We've discussed before with all nitric oxide ingredients, we recommend judging pre-workouts that are stimulant based on the stimulants, because if you're taking them for the nitric oxide production, in healthy adults or athletes, the evidence isn't there that it actually increases nitric oxide. It does seem to help with elderly patients or people who have vasoconstriction issues in terms of returning you to homeostasis, back to balance, so it can actually dilate blood vessels in that case. But otherwise, no, that's really not been proven. So it doesn't hurt to have it in there. It's just not what we would recommend judging it on, because as of right now, there's just no ingredients that have empirical evidence showing. They've all been rate limiting by one thing or another. In this case, arginine's limited by arginase, and the arginase inhibitor ingredients have not borne out to prove that they increase nitric oxide significantly. So judge it by the stimulants, which we'll go through right now. So Glenn, what's the first one in there?
Okay, they have their explosive energy blend. First is vitamin C. Not really something going to give you energy, but vitamin C, I guess it's in there as an antioxidant possibly. N-acetyl-tyrosine, it's just a more soluble form of tyrosine, meaning that it can absorb better in the body.
Thought to be, actually.
Thought
Evidence this says the opposite, actually. Tyrosine actually absorbs better in and of itself. When you just take it that way, it's converted to dopamine. So, and that can control, dopamine in this case, its main benefit is that it's going to increase motivation. It plays a lot of roles in the body in terms of the brain, in terms of cognitive function and things like that. And it can also be converted down the road to adrenaline. So.
And then playing off of the dopamine, there's an ingredient called mucunapurines, which is a source of L-dopa, which then could lead to extra dopamine production. Next is caffeine anhydrous, 135 milligrams per scoop. So it's not a relative, it's middle of the road in terms of the amount of caffeine inside there. Some you'll see 200 on up to 400 milligrams. This is one scoop, 135 milligrams, so similar to maybe a larger cup of coffee. Well,
because a cup of coffee is about 100 to 125, so Glenn-sized cups of coffee. So let's make that clear, because Glenn drinks these giant things of coffee. So for me, that would be a pretty good dose of caffeine. I would probably feel that, but it depends on the person. And that brings up a point, too, with pre-workouts and stimulants, is you want to cycle them. We get a lot of questions, because if you take this every day for 6 months, at some point during that time, your body's just going to adapt to the stimulants. It's going to down-regulate, so the number of receptors affected is going to be less and less, so you just don't feel it quite as much. So you build up a tolerance, I guess would be the best way to put it. So the best way to use a pre-workout is if you want to use them for a longer period of time, maybe use them 2-3 days a week, maybe up to 4, and then on those other days take off to kind of keep your body from building up, that tolerance to it, or, maybe use it for a month straight and then give yourself a few weeks off. That's the best way to do it, because if you want to continue to feel it and not have to take 2 and 3 scoops to feel it, that's the best way to do it. Stay sensitive to stimulants. So.
Okay, next ingredient, niacinamide, which is just niacin. It's a B vitamin. Then you have synephrine hydrochloride. Synephrine was made popular when ephedra became banned. They said, hey, it's ephedра's cousin. It's purported to act the same as ephedra, but it just doesn't have the same effects. It basically can help with the releasing of adrenaline and noradrenaline, but that's not been fully shown in humans to work that way. And for people who have taken synephrine over the years, comparing it to ephedrine, you just don't get the same effects.
And the tyrosine and L-dopa can kind of cover that, because, as we said, they can be converted to dopamine. It has powerful effects in the brain, and as we said, the dopamine can, later be converted to adrenaline, so and noradrenaline for that matter. So that effect is covered by those 2 ingredients. Because we do get good feedback on this product. Yeah. Stimulants are one of the times where we'll kind of rely on a little bit of
you'll definitely evidence. Feel the synephrine. It is something, but I guess I was talking about it more in terms of a fat loss effect.
Sure.
Yeah, but in a stimulating effect, definitely something you'll feel.
Okay.
Next is folate or folic acid, again another B vitamin, and then pyridoxine phosphate and vitamin B12, another 2 B vitamins that are in there.
Energy.
A lot of times, yeah, they have B vitamins for energy. You'll often hear people taking extra B12 as an energy boost.
Okay. So questions we get: one, how does it taste? It tastes okay. I think it tastes pretty good actually. Yeah. But that's subjective, so it's kind of hard for us to, throw that out there. Who can take it? Basically, anyone can take this, as long as you're healthy. As Glenn had said in the beginning, assess your tolerance when there's stimulants. If you're a teenager, we get a lot of questions. If you're a teenager, stimulants should not really be rate limiting to you growing or being able to put on muscle. There's, just stick with a good diet. Taking your protein, essential fats. Perhaps creatine if you're 18, 19. But you really shouldn't need to suck down stims to get going for your workouts. So. That would be our recommendation as far as who can take it. Side effects, that's basically only really is a downregulation, or not necessarily downregulation, but building up a tolerance.
Yeah,
more or less
depending
to
on how
stims.
Tolerant you are to the stims.
Yeah, like Glenn could take 1 scoop and probably wouldn't feel it. I would be buzzed. So he drinks more, stims than I do. So that's why. When to take it before training. Other than that, there's really, or maybe if it's just, you need a buzz and that's your energy drink, you could use it that way.
Yeah.
And as we said before, there's no DMAA, so there's no worries about bans or being banned or anything like that. But you never know what ingredient they'll come out next.
Yeah, there is a warning on here. It says, due to the unique restrictions of amateur and professional sports organizations, it is recommended that you consult with the appropriate governing body before taking that.
And that's on pretty much every product.
Yeah, that's just them saying
There's
check
no-
with them to be safe, but there's nothing you can.
And half of them won't even know what they're talking about, so that's all the other thing. So you're always best doing your own research. That would be our recommendation. So yeah, so hopefully we covered it. If you guys have any other questions on it, it's pretty cut and dry, you know, judge it by the stimulants. Go ahead and post them in the comments section of the blog or the video. We're happy to answer. Also, check us out on facebook.com/bestpricenutrition. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.